gender-based budget, providing equal opportunities and economic equality for women. Joining me in studio is Charmaine Van Geyn of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Christine, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being with us. So what do you make overall of the fact that this is being dubbed the gender-based budget?
Yeah, so I think that this is just sort of the marketing of this particular government. They like to focus on calling themselves a feminist government, and they want to look at the budget through a feminist lens, which is all great. They're welcome to do that. Happy to see it. The only thing is that math sometimes, it doesn't have a gender. So what's important for us from our perspective is the deficits being reduced, which I don't think we're going to be seeing, and that they're going to be aiming for deficit reduction and elimination.
Okay, let's go back to the gender thing for a second. We know that women working full-time still earn 88 cents for every dollar a man makes. Do you think this budget will shrink that gender gap?
So I think the government's talked about some of the things they want to do to achieve that, and giving women equal pay for the same work as men is obviously an incredibly important goal. The government should start with itself by looking at its own workers. There are about 1.2 million workers in federally regulated and government jobs. One way of showing whether when men and women are paid equally is to publicly disclose the salaries of people making over, for example, $100,000 as they do in Ontario. We would welcome something like that. Greater transparency could change how men and women are paid to ensure there is better equality. That being said, government workers are already paid a wage premium over private sector workers, and if the government's going to undertake correcting that gender pay gap, they need to show us where they're getting the money to do that.
The paternity leave policy could change. Quebec is the only province that has dedicated leave for new fathers up to 5 weeks, covering 70% of their income. What would that mean for Canadian families if there was that change?
Yeah, so this is the nudge theory in economics. You provide what's supposed to be a small financial incentive to create a different social outcome. And the outcome the government wants to see is more men helping to take care of children, which will encourage more women to get back into the workforce. Obviously, that's really good for the economy, and it's good for women. What I'd like to see is what the price tag of a nudge like that would be, and also some review at the end of it, if this is something they're going to experiment with, of the efficacy of a policy like that. So obviously giving birth is not a gender neutral event, and there have been some studies that show gender equal or gender neutral parental leave have led to different outcomes. For example, in the United States, among academics, they found that male academics who had the same parental leave as female academics ended up using a lot of that leave to publish a lot of research and advance their careers, while their female counterparts, female academics, did not have the same advantages. They used the parental leave to take care of the child. But that's just something that we need to look at. We review the policy and make sure it's getting the outcome that the government wants it to get, especially if it's an expensive undertaking.
Okay, the finance minister took a beating last year from small business owners over his tax reform plan. A lot of people didn't even think he would be around to present another budget, but here he is. What could potentially give him a headache out of this budget this go round?
So business owners might say that they took the beating from the finance minister, but it was a self-imposed beating, if you want to call it that. The changes to small business taxes were made without a lot of consultation with business owners. There's now been some subsequent consultation. What we'd like to see in this budget is some clarification of some of those changes. There's still a lot of details that are missing, especially on the passive income side. How passive income ends up being defined in the small business tax rules is going to really determine how big a tax increase these businesses are going to see.
Okay, Charmaine Van Geyn with the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Thanks so much. Appreciate you being with us on this budget day.